try. We want to go press here. We want to press here. And I want to press there. Whoops, that's not what I wanted to do. That is what I wanted to do. And I want to press that little button. Do you see the thing that popped up in the lower right? Let's remove that. So it seems to be working a little bit. And let's press the play button, see what happens. And we can press the next. How's the volume? Can you hear that? And it posts in the chat. This was one of the solutions I had for playing music. Just random. Blasphemous asks, are you using Polybar with auto hide script? No, this is the i3 bar, i3 blocks, I think it's called. It's a specific one to, but I'm pretty sure it's just part of with i3 itself, the auto hide thing. Just my super key, no? The Windows key. Fuck, I don't remember what it's called. I'm not using Windows, so the mod key. No, it just shows up when I press it. I'm pretty sure it's just part of i3. Super key. Yeah, super key. Thanks. I'm pretty sure it's just part of i3 that you can do that. Have it hidden as the thing. I'll get in a tab says super as well. Alright, so do you hear the music? If you don't like a song, just tell me to skip. There's probably a lot of shitty music here as well. Yeah, you should see it over in that corner. Way over there you should see what it's called. And it's DMCA safe music as well. From Pretzel Rocks. I have another thing. Actually, I want to show that. I want to show it. I want to show this. I've made this database myself. I've put it in stuff. I've scripted and made this little database of 9,365 songs from freemusicarchive.org. I scripted a lot of bits, so this is their license. All of these are safe, as long as you attribute, like the thing I have over there in the end. As long as I show what I'm playing, I can download any of these songs and play it. I still need to script it a little bit. I also have like a genre thing here, so I can filter by metal. I like metal. It's not a lot of metal here, 152 songs, but it's a little bit of music. And this pretzel thing I can change. Radio, so we can listen to a little bit of metal. I think they had. Where is it? Industrial. That sounds fun. Oh, we have a metal radio. There we go. Listen to some metal. Colgate in on tabs is super, yeah. When I used Arch, it called it Mod 4. Yeah, it's calling it Mod 4 for me as well. But this is gonna be fun because I have like a link to the song, and I also have a download link. So I'm gonna script a little bit with this database later on. It's gonna be fun. Like fixing stuff. And I'm gonna play music with MPV auto download from the command line. I love doing stuff from the command line. Alright, so we're done with cynicism for now. again, it's a trial thing with the music, so if it's too low, too loud, if you don't like the song, just say the word. Oh, let's quit that, like this, quit that, and to burn in memory. But I think mod 4 is not the key itself, it's the functionality, right? I think you can have the functionality of mod 4. Like, I think control is mod 1, right? Shift is mod 2, alt is mod 3 or something like that. And the super key is mod 4. But I'm pretty sure you can change that around within your configurations. Mod 4 is more of a functionality thing rather than the key itself, if that makes sense. What the fuck was that? Sounded like the song just stopped and continued, but... Well, actually, I want to lower it. It's a bit too loud for me, the music. I want it in the background for myself. Alright, we're at the intersection. Right, we went out through the front exit from the tower. And we just went down the stairs. Right, and then we came to the old quarter. And the intersection we took... the promenade, I think, was down to the river and the sun gate, which we have the key to, if I remember correctly. We've been in the Lancôme building. So actually, let's look through the promenade before we go to the Quarter Boulevard. We haven't been everywhere south yet. Promenade trace the river. We've been in the requisition terminal. Yeah, in the requisition terminal, that is where we have a safe. We need a four-digit code. And the rear gateway, that is the sun gate. We can walk through that if we want to get to the tower. We have not been in Verona Square yet. So let's go to the Verona Square. Just off the promenade, an intersection of two narrow avenues met in what could be considered a small square, inscribed plainly with Verona Square. An old brass plaque. Is that how you pronounce that word? Plaque? Set within the paving stones confirm this. Right. Down a shallow set of iron steps. There's a lot of iron here. Iron steps, like in a city? How often do you see that? A crumpled arcade continuing west. Let's enter the Mayfly bar. Mayflies are usually used to iconify just how life is short, right? The Mayfly it just lives in May, something like that. It just lives for a couple of days, right? And that is usually how it is used, I think. Through a door ajar and a darkened flight of stairs was the Mayfly, a working-class drinkery, never touched by the light of day. The ever-too-faint oil lamps provide the entirety of the lightning. Oil lamps provided all the lighting. There we go. Not lightning, lighting. A small stage was the focal point of what light there was. and cast in this dim focus lay a wreath of blue flowers. Let's activate the memory. Actually, let's... Wait. Why am I stuck? Since there will be... I can do this. No? Just pause the music because there will be sound. They call us filth. Filth. Edith shouts, but they are the ones with blood on their hands. What stains the dear fingers of us working girls is a liquid of another kind, eh? Alright. So the city is not super religious, no. But leaving that behind completely. Actually, let's change the radio station again. So there is a surprise me, so it's just random from all the songs of the thing. I kinda like that. Even though I like metal, I like this. We can just skip if there's something annoying. Oh, this is Marcel again. Memory from Marcel. Remember the name, but I don't remember what Marcel had to say to us earlier. They call us filth. They're the ones with blood on their hands. Wait, are we talking about blood? In 1907. This is way before the war. So who has blood on their hands? Ah, we'll get to it probably. Laughter and drunken cheering. Then unexpectedly she turns to me. What says the old soldier, eh, Marcel? Whose blood will you spill? Yeah, Marcel was a soldier. I gave her a puzzled look. A joke, she makes a face. Herr Marcel. Wait, what? Oh, the occupation has been going on for years, but the slaughter didn't happen until 1908. Of course, that is why they blame the provost, or whatever, the leader of the institute, because he pissed them off. That makes sense then. A joke, she makes the face. Herr Marcel. I shan't say you look a day older than me. Old soldier. No, that you'd call me a soldier, I say. I haven't fought in a war, save for the struggle of downing a mug of what passes for beer here. For this they should give me a medal, I say with a grin. What's a command for checking memory usage? Says Colgate in on tap. H-top? I would go for H-top. I love H-top. 3 gigs? There is probably a better one if you only care about that, but I'm sorry I can't help you with that. I would always just go to H-top to do that. She's not convinced. I see many soldiers in my line of work. Up quite close and personal, I should add. I can imagine. And you hold yourself as they do, she replies, peering over at me. They got that look in your eyes. Also. The 1,000-mile stare, is that what it's called? She was right about everything. I had fought. I did indeed have blood on my hands. And if things were to continue as I had set them to, my hands would remain so stained. While I was stationed with the colonial forces near Nabib, a visiting British officer had told me that the whole project of colonialism functioned on the same mechanism to a weapon they had, called the Maxim Gun. A beastly thing that could tear a man in half. It cemented their rule in terror. And fired with a unique mechanism, each shot would power the action of the next. An eternal cycle of violence. A machine that fed on blood, where the greatest effort on the part of the operator was to release the trigger. At the time I considered him an old fool, but here I am, finger on the trigger, hesitant to fire. Yeah. Soldier that would suck, eh? Being a soldier, having to kill people. That would not be... I am not well suited to that type of work. Not at all. Descend stairs to the square. Alright, we go back. We've learned a little bit news information about what's going on. Promenade back east. Walk the arcade to the Iron Gardens. Iron Gardens sounds like fun. We can also go to the Boulevard. Let's go to Iron Gardens. Rebirth. The Institute and its grand stairs to the forecourt. We're in the forecourt in the Iron Gardens. We're still in the old quarter though. The Institute and its grand stairs to the plaza and its pendulum. Wait. The Institute and its grand stairs. The grand stairs to the plaza and its pendulum. This created a long axis, bisecting the city to form its spine. At the culmination of this lay the Iron Gardens, a sprawling complex of cast iron and plate glass greenhouses. Below spires silhouetted in black across the horizon. Low spires silhouetted in black across the horizon. It felt fierce in its myriad of colors. Opposite the... Oh, this was annoying. Oh, thank you. Sprawling complex of cast iron plate greenhouses. Opposite the planar facade near the rear of the Lancome building. Oh? A small forecourt led up to the garden's crystalline gate. Examine the gate. Oh, is it locked? Do we need a key? We can enter the Lancome building from here as well. That's interesting. Have we been here already in the forecourt? I don't think so. Crystalline gate. Filigree metalwork of great craftsmanship joined in glass. Despite a fragile countenance, it was bolted from the inside with large steel bars. By all appearances, it did not seem to be operable from the exterior. Another closed door. So let's head south again. We're back here, right? We've been in the Mayfly bar. We have checked Iron Gardens. It was locked, so follow the winding alleyways to the boulevard. Another memory. The river bent to meet the northern quarter of the city, ending the boulevard in a promenade of sorts that continued some distance along the shore. I think we've read this already. Yeah, we've been to the riverside. Opulence and austerity. Man, I love that word, opulence. Were at war along the boulevard, with the Baroque sensibility of gaining dominance as one moved closer to the river, culminating in the center of all this with the Imperial Opera, an imposing hulk of a structure brooding above the waters. I mean, the pretzel thing, it becomes a little bit spammy, posting all the songs in the chat, I feel. But it works. It's alright, I suppose. So, but now we pause and we activate the memory. The boulevards are... oh, it's Marcel again. The German soldier, part of the occupation. Oh, Colgate Innotap started deleting the messages to remove the spamminess. That's funny. The boulevards are a shadow of their former self now. Oh, wait, and let's continue playing. The boulevards are a shadow of their former self now. Their champions, those men we named captains of industry. Have long since fled for the new conquests. Are you having fun, Colgate in on tap? It's like it's even more spammy now. Our shadow of the former self, their champions, captains of industry, have long since fled for new conquests. It's kind of weird, Marcel talking about this. Like Marcel, like it seems like shadow of their former self. Like how long has he been here? New cities to brand their engorged likeness upon. Oh, that's funny. In our optimism, we sold our bodies to make a new world for them, of iron and grand stone. Our pride such that we saw the Lethe as a monument to our own success, not theirs. Then the Prussians broke us, and we saw the rich could leave as easily as they had come, take as easily as they could give, and the Lethe gave us nothing. As is the want of stone and iron, I write. What does that word mean, Lethe? A great song called Lethe. Leith, I don't know. Is this the same? Greek mythology? Is that what they're talking about? Maybe, maybe not. Yes, thanks for asking, says Colgate on that. Good, I'm glad. I'm glad indeed. In Greek mythology, Lethe was one of the 5 rivers of the underworld of Hades. That is where it is. The river of the... I wonder if that is what they're talking about as well. Yeah, there's been a lot of... Okay, I still can't visualize the city properly, but it has been a lot of aqueducts and rivers and stuff like that, right? Maybe I should... where is that button? It's right here, right? Let me see if it becomes a movie. What does it mean in French? It means tea in French. It says word hippo. I don't know how. Or stream. Stream. There we go. It's stream, which is the river thing, right? Similar to the from the Greek mythology thing. I put down my notebook to adjust my gloves, warm them against my coat. I glance at the winter sky to check for rain, then I continue my missive. Oh, he's writing to someone. It's probably been here for a couple of years then, I suppose. For all its imagery of iron, industry is such a iron and industry is such a fragile thing. Is it? And its captains are made of lesser material still. They have not fallen, they have simply taken their farce elsewhere. A new stage set for those same faces to perform their soliloquies to capital in their identical timber. And I want to copy and paste soliloquy. Oops. I meant this. A dramatic or literary form of discourse in which a character talks to himself or herself or reveals his or her thoughts when alone or unaware of the presence of another character. So it's monologue in a literary character's head. Kinda. Right? Do I really believe what I write, or does the role I play guide my hand to end this last act of violence? Every stage has its place for one to play the traitor. But in our profession it takes true talent to fool ourselves. The harshest of spectators. Our performance is a lie told in greatest sincerity. And those of us traitors who thrive in this vicious time have such unyielding faith in our own self-interest to put to shame the truest of believers. Like that. That was a difficult sentence. So he's an author, he's a soldier and an author. Yeah, he's writing a missive, but he's crafting the missive. That's right. Delitha has found a new life, a quieter life. Maybe it's better that way. No, I strike that line out in anger. I need to make these words burn. Why is he angry at this time? He's angry, he feels abandoned. So how long has this occupation been taking place? Since he's calling himself a traitor. Yeah, it's difficult to follow along, so they have been occupying this place for a long time, and part of the reason why, like, because they were here occupying, a lot of the captains, like the capitalists, the organizers, the builders, the whatever, the people with the money to build and keep the city flourishing, they all fled, right? The Prussians broke us. We saw the rich could leave as easily as they had come. Yeah, they just leave. And the river itself doesn't give anything without organization. Is that really how life works? Probably, yeah. Like many times, like if you don't get food or paid, or like if you don't gain anything for your labor, like you still need to get food, right? That gives a lot of power to the captains of industry, right? They do gain a lot of power of what we should do. Like they get to do a lot of decisions. They can make their this song was annoying. Yeah, that is what happens. They get to make a lot of decisions. Like political power, if we put it that way. The captains of industry do gain a lot of political power of what we should do and what we should not do. Because they make, like, let's say just cleaning a bathroom. Like someone is making that decision, right? To pay someone to do the job. Responsibility. They get political power and political responsibility. Actually, looking at it like that, I can understand why capitalists would view universal basic income as a threat. Right? It's a threat to the status quo. Like, well, I can't make the decisions anymore. Like, if I don't pay one, then why would they do the work? If they don't get paid, I can see where the arguments come from now. Like, if I don't pay them, they will not clean the bathrooms and will have shitty bathrooms. If, like, with universal basic income. I think it's a fallacious argument. I think they have equated the need for food or whatever, like needs we have to fulfill, that we fill our needs with money. Money is a tool to fulfill those things. But I mean, that is not the only motivation to clean bathrooms. And even if it was the only motivation to clean your bathroom, then I would argue that you would have to raise the salary for people cleaning bathrooms, because that is quite literally a shitty job, right? It's a very shitty job, and like most people don't try, like have a super urge to have that as a job. That is what I do. I clean bathrooms. That makes me super happy. No, I get that. Like you would need extra motivation I mean, the bathroom needs to be clean, so, I mean, it's a useful thing to society, so you can feel pride in your work. Sure. But, I mean, it's a shitty job, but someone has got to do it. Like, hopefully in the future it will all be machines, since people don't want to do it. Having machines that can do it as far as possible is better, I suppose. And as well as Blasphemous points out, some people may have a fetish and would enjoy cleaning bathroom. Oh, I'm not disputing that at all. Some people just would get intrinsic value from it. Yeah, I agree with that. And those people would, of course, go to that work. But they would still get paid, right? And they would, like, universal basic income would, like, the way I see it is that the salary, the amount you get paid for cleaning bathroom, would increase as a consequence, right? Since universal basic income would be taking political power or political decision making away, like not taking away, but shifting the balance, right? You're shifting the balance of power to the individual that does their job, where a person, you give the power to a person to always say, no, I don't want to fucking do this job. Which I would argue, like, that is a political good thing, because that increases democracy, right? Because we put the power, like, the decision making is in the hands of the people, quite literally. It is an increase of democracy. Since any person who would want to make an ethical judgment, not even like cleaning toilets or whatever, but let's say you have a job at Marlboro making cigarettes. Like, a lot of people could just say, no, fuck this. Like, they could make an ethical value judgment if they so choose. They could make that judgment and say, no, I don't want to work for this company. I'm still safe. Like, I don't have to fear starving. If that makes sense. Blasphemous said it could be paid via social credits. How do you mean social credits? Like, I'm for, like, some sort of system of social credits. Like pressing like buttons. Like, if you go to the bathroom, you can press a like button. I like this bathroom. And somehow the people who clean the bathroom would get monetary value from that. It would be a super difficult system to put into place. I don't know how it would work. I have seen Black Mirror. That's the issue with that, right? But that, again, like, no thumbs down, only thumbs up. I'm thinking, like, having, because, like, turning life into a popularity contests. Holy shit! That is one of the most memorable Black Mirror episodes. If you haven't seen Black Mirror, I recommend all of them. Like, the first season starts out super fucking dark, and then it becomes lighter with each season. It's still dystopian most of the episodes, but every season becomes lighter and lighter and lighter. Which, I mean, the episodes are still good. It's just, I like the darkness. I like the metal and the misery and stuff like that. But yeah, that Black Mirror episode is super memorable. With social credits. Like, I would want to see a working social credit systems, but so far I haven't seen any example of it working. Not really. It's either like it turns into a popularity contest, and that is very manipulative. And my views is that I would not want a society like that. It is similar to what we have now, right? A lot of popularity contests going on. maybe that is just good. Maybe that is increasing democracy, I suppose. As long as the social credits or the social score is like if it's generated by the people, by the individuals, then it is increasing democracy, right? So maybe that type of popularity contest. I mean, we have popularity contests, but people likes different things. So it's not always gonna be the same. I mean, a Twitch person could get social score, like social credits. Someone cleaning the toilets could get social credits. Like you could get social credits in many different ways. As long as it doesn't come from the top down like it does in China right now, that is fucked up. That's idealistic, right? It's not diversifying. It's we'll look at how an ideal person should behave, and everybody who deviates from that gets punished. And that's fucked up. But I'm thinking that the Black Mirror episode is probably making a mistake. Because all of them were exactly the same, the top tier of popularity things. That's not like if you take other popularity contests that we do today, like Reddit or YouTube or whatever. We have some people doing, like, there's all types of different types of way to gain the thumbs up, right? There's so many ways to do it. So maybe the Black Mirror episode has it. They're making some fallacy in their view. Perhaps. I'm just thinking. That's interesting though. Colgate InnoTap says Steins Gate. I need to see that. It's the other way around. It starts light, but it gets pretty dark. That is one of the animes that I really need to watch. I don't know why I haven't already. I've heard a lot of people saying that it's really good. I mean, one of the favorite shows ever, all categories, is for me is Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. It's so good. Talking about just associated that with anime thinking. Blasphemous says that he believes we are working towards that with ways to make money on the side, such as gig jobs, Uber, Lyft, Grubhub. I don't know what Grubhub is. And social media, Twitch, YouTube, Instagram. Yeah, I think so too. And I'm thinking that universal basic income, I see it as, I mean, as long as we continue moving forward and civilization doesn't collapse, I see universal basic income as inevitable. It's gonna happen. Automation, it's just gonna happen. There is no way around it. It's the way I see. And that is, I think, is gonna move society even more towards like project jobs or gigs, you know? And that would be easy. I mean, it would be better for companies because they don't have to, when they hire someone, they can fire them whenever they feel like, oh, you have done your job, we don't need you anymore, fuck off. And that would be acceptable. Today, that is seen as something terrible, but it's like when you finish the project, it's done. And now companies today need to find something else for that person they hired to do. Right? You could get more project oriented. Like, we have this project, let's do it, and then we pay people during the project. I think society will move more towards that. And I would enjoy that. That would suit me better. It would suit me much better because I get bored of stuff. Like, I can do a thing until I like learning it and doing it, and then I get bored and I can't do it anymore. I can't. Colgate InnoTap asks, have you seen Monster? I don't think so, no. Blasphemous Psychopaths was good too. Yeah, I did see that. I did like Psychopaths. Banana Waffle Monkey says, I would like universal basic income. Yeah, I would like it. I think it's actually quite urgent as well. I think automation is moving so fast that somehow we need to adapt to it. Like, I think it's inevitable, right? And I think the sooner we start moving in that direction, the better. Like, my way of thinking is that, like, we can't just say boom and now everybody universal basic income. That would be super disruptive and stuff like that. But I've been thinking, like, what if we start with, like, just successive stuff? Like, we change from like your pensioners, right? When you have your pensions, what are you, like 64, I think is the age where you stop working in Sweden. Instead of, like, you switch that system towards a UBI system, like you implement a different system, but it's them, but you just pay everyone. Like, we already have something like that, and then you just start working by lowering the ages. The same for kids, like kids who goes to school doesn't pay anything, right? And students, well, in Sweden students doesn't pay, your students do. It sucks for them, but you know, they get paid. We implement that in the same system, like a UBI system, and then we increases, that would be the way to implement it, I think. Just successfully just increasing the ages and lowering the ages consistently. And the politicians could argue and fiddle around with that, you know, move it around. But with the explicit goal to put everyone on the universal basic income. That is that's one way to not have it be so disruptive, I think. Blasphemous says that my main concern with that would be if people were punished for not going with the status quo and were cut off. Yeah, but that's the whole point of universal basic income. There is no requirements. It's just, you just get it. Whoever you are, whatever, there is no cutting off anyone. That is the whole point of the thing, right? Everybody gets it. That is the point. And I'm thinking as well, just to not make an ideological discussion about who gets and who not get, I think age would be a simple number to discuss politically without cutting people off, and you could just implement it, have that kind of strategy to implement it, I'm thinking. Or limited to living in ghettos. I don't understand, or limited to living in ghettos. Yeah, I mean, I'm guessing, like, we already have that, right? I mean, it's comparable. Like, ghettos is kind of a subjective value judgment, right? But we have people living in poor conditions, and people, like, the universal basic income, the lower threshold has to be, for it to work, it has to be just enough to keep you alive. We can still keep the capitalist motivation, right? Because it's enough to put a roof over your head and food on your table. That is the universal basic income, right? And then you can work like these projects, or you can get a job and gain the extra income to anything extra that you would want to buy. And then the politicians could argue, like the leftists would argue, to increase the lowest value, like everybody needs to have access to the internet. Like, that is, I'm just guessing here, but the more left-leaning progressives, the more that type of politicians would argue for raising it, while the more right-wing ones would argue to lower it, to keep it on the very least just food and places. But that would, like, be a political discussion, right? Banana Waffle Monkey says, richest fucking country, trademark, on earth. Everyone in debt. Well, that is how the monetary system works, right? Like, every single money you have in existence, you have a bigger debt. Because that is how money gets its value, right? It's not based on gold anymore, it's based on debt. So every single money you have, there's always a bigger debt. Always. That is how That is the driving force behind it, right? That's the whole idea about how our monetary system works. Since when you owe a lot of stuff and try to pay that back, that is motivation, right? If you owe your parents $1,000, 1,000 monies or whatever, you are motivated to gain that money and pay it back. Blasphemous says, when financially most people become equal, I don't see that happening in hundreds of years. I mean, the only way I see that happening is if everybody becomes, like if humanity just leaves economics behind, where we don't need any, when we don't have any need for money anymore. Like think a Star Trek universe where you can just 3D print anything that you would ever need. You can just go to a 3D printer and print it out for yourself. That is the only way I see financial equality happening. They would need methods to in place to determine who can live in nicer areas and have nicer things, etc. No, I mean, using a universal basic income is just the lower end, right? It's just something everybody gets. It's not ripping apart the capitalist system that we have today. The billionaires would still be billionaires and they could still live in the nicer areas because they have more money, right? It wouldn't change anything. It would just put a lower base, like the lowest base. Like instead of having 0 as the lowest base of income today, we would have income to pay for the very cheapest housing and the cheapest food, right? Like there's still a lot of jobs to do, so the argument for universal basic income nowadays is not about making people not work. Part of it is a little bit. It's more about giving people safety and more control of what they work on. If that makes sense. Like there's a lot of things that has value that doesn't create money. Like it's one of the tragedies of feminism. Unfortunately, I'm all for feminism. It was a good movement to like start when they started, like really in the 70s, to break free and being free from being locked to a man, which was fucked up, right? That was really good. But a tragedy, an unfortunate consequence was that the capitalist came, oh, we'll put them to work. And then we moved all the women into the regular workforce. So nowadays, all that value that had value before, like we should have started paying for cooking food, cleaning clothes, washing the dishes, just hoovering, cleaning the house. Nobody gets paid for that, but that's valuable work, right? It's just unfortunate. It's unfortunate. Colgate In on Tap says, politicians have discussed basic income, but it never gets anywhere because they have 2 different views on how big basic income should be. Yeah, and it's like, it's too big. There is no society today that is politically strong enough to make like the big switch and just put it in universal basic income now today. I think that's a mistake. I think that it's too difficult. We're too bad at democracy. The people are not involved enough to make that decision right. But if you just put it in front of us as a goal, as I said, like small iterative changes, just change how pensioners get their money, change how children get their money. And let's start calling that what the money they get for basic income. We have people in Sweden, we do Some people, when they get ill or sick or something, they get money from the government because they cannot work. They just can't. It just won't happen. No, even if they could work, they're so bad at it that no company would have them. Right? People losing both their arms. What the fuck should they do? What should they work with? I mean, there are stuff they can do, I suppose, but, you know, let's change all of this. All the money that comes from the government. Let's make it to one system. Like, that's the first change. Just make that into one system, which simplifies it to the government, right? It's way easier for the government to deal with that if it's just the one system. And then have the political, have the goal to increase the number of people as fast as you can. I mean, maybe we would get in a bad spot, where it wouldn't be fair for a while. Maybe we would give the poorest people, give it to some of the poorest people, maybe give it to unemployed people. No, that wouldn't work politically. People would be so pissed off, and people would just quit their jobs. So that wouldn't work. You can't give it to unemployed people, unfortunately. That wouldn't work. And I mean, basic income. It's like a basic income. It's for survival. Start at the lowest point is what I would argue for. Start at the lowest point to get a home and to get food. Blasphemous says, I'm just concerned about where it will eventually go, since most systems become corrupted and exploited in time. Good old Rosie Riveter. Yeah, exactly, Banana Wolf Monkey. We've talked about that before. Yeah, of course. I mean, that is why the goal has to be everybody, right? Universal basic income. That is the goal, so it cannot be if everybody gets it, how could you exploit it? Everybody gets the same. As soon as it's a decision making, it has to be in the start. So of course it would be corrupted like everything else. It's in the start, but it's it's a path, right? We need paths. Making changes takes time. It's difficult. People don't like changes, so we have to make it slowly. That is why I think that the age thing is a good way, because it's difficult to do any corruptions. There's no decision making there. It's just, oh, does your birth certificate say that you are this old? All right, now you get the universal basic income for a while. But then again, that system would have to be focused, the goal would have to be universal basic income. And yeah, and Rosie the Riveter, all those jobs as well. All that would go under the universal basic income, I think. A lot of artists, musicians and painters and whatnot, there are a lot of artists that would want to do it full time, but they just won't get paid, right? It's still value in it. Right? As long as you do something, yeah, there's still value in it. What we're doing right now, I see this, none of us are, well, I don't know what you're doing on your second monitor or whatever. But I'm not doing anything else. I'm not generating any money, but I feel that it has value for me and for you, who otherwise you wouldn't be here, right? It's not generating any money. And that's fine. That's why I said earlier when Moal was here, I've decoupled the two concepts. Value is one thing. subjective value judgment. We can do that about whatever we want, which is fine. Generating money is a completely different thing. Wait, how did we get into universal basic income from this? Oh, right. Captains of industry. Moving, shifting the power balance to increase democracy, right? Because universal basic income would be better democracy. That's since it gives choice to the person, then the person has more control. Like I said about the Marlboro thing. They could, if they wanted to, make an... Well, the responsibility is put in, like with a universal basic income, the responsibility is even put into their hands, right? The responsibility right now is the captains of industry, if you want to call them that. They have the responsibility of what to spend the effort on, what to do, what not to do. That is their responsibility in the capitalist society as we have it, as society looks right now. And I mean, it wouldn't remove their power. I mean, and I don't think it's a good idea to completely remove the power. Like it's like some people take different responsibilities in society, right? So some people having more decision-making responsibilities, being captains. I don't see an issue with that. I mean, hierarchical thinking, hierarchical structures are useful to humans. So I don't see an issue with having that. I just want to see more decision-making in the hands of the people. Because one of my personal views is that we should increase democracy. We should increase involvement of the people in government. Should put more responsibility on the people. Because it's my belief that that will lead to something that I would consider a more likable society. There we go. I like this song. I'm gonna press a thumbs up on it. Maxim Skyline. Yeah, I did like this song. I like, even since you recommended Infected Mushroom, I'd never really listened a lot to EDM. Is this EDM? Is this the same genre? I don't know. I haven't listened to this kind of genre before, but it's quite nice, especially to have in the background like this while talking and stuff like that. Yeah, I do like it. And it was lunchtime 20 minutes ago. So, yeah, interesting discussion. I like talking about universal basic income. Stuff like that. Ooh. One could talk about the Black Mirror for ages as well. Every episode you could talk about a lot in Black Mirror. That's so much fun. Just... yeah, and that is what happened within the occupation and other stuff. Like, the money just left, and there was a decay. And decay led to unrest, probably, and since it was an occupation, the unrest led to the slaughter that we were looking at earlier. I feel like I'm getting a better picture of what is going on in the story so far. And it is interesting. It's drawing me in. Like, first impression was a little bit rough, because a lot of this is, as I've said before, it's not my favorite, just reading how it looks. I have difficulty in internalizing. I can't really like painting a picture through the words with this type of words, it's not... That is interesting, because Banana Waffle Monkey, your story that you gave us, that just happened for me. It just became a painting in my mind. But in this, I have difficulties. It doesn't happen for me. I mean, I've seen this large black tower and all that. But, I don't know. I don't know. It kind of feels like if this... Like we went from a visual novel as well. The last novel we read was a visual novel. So they painted a lot of the stuff for us. So we just had to look at it. Which I think I miss a little bit in this. I miss having pictures, drawings, paintings, whatever you want to call them. I miss that in this story so far. Like I would want someone to paint all the stuff. Yeah, I would have liked that. Nope, Colgate on tap and went mad and deleted a lot of messages as well. Again. Alright, but... Well, thanks for hanging out today. And I'll be back tomorrow and see you next time. Cheers!